Welcome back to the morning show. And joining us in studio this morning, Gubernatorial candidate Mark Ronchetti back with us. Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Good to be back.
Good deal. So last time I spoke to you, you were running a Senate race, and I got to be honest, I was excited. You made some headway, I feel, in that Senate race, even though you didn't get the ultimate prize there. I think you raised some awareness for folks here. So I got to ask. You went back to being a meteorologist. I'm pretty sure living a good life there as the meteorologist.
Right. Yeah.
What made you say, you know what, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring for governor here?
Well, I think initially, once the Senate race ended, we looked back at how that went, and we were frustrated too, Mike. We looked at it and said, what really happened here? And we went back through the numbers and we saw what we did accomplish, which was, there were 11 Senate candidates in the country that outran the president, and 10 of them were incumbents, and we were the 11th. And so what we started to realize was we had the 5th highest margin in the nation. Mm-hmm. We started to realize we galvanized a lot of really good people together in a tough environment, but it was a great environment in the same respect. And so we went back to KRQE, and honestly, what we found was we've got a reception from certain people in the state that was very, very negative.
Wow.
And so
you basically got blacklisted a little bit.
Well, we had, I think the governor took aim at us.
Yeah.
It's been reported in the Albuquerque Journal. She took aim at us for the better part of a year.
You upset the apple cart, and they didn't like that.
And that was the point, right?
Yeah.
So you bloody the nose of the people in charge. And so what that makes you realize is we have to keep pushing for the people of this state. And when we were running the Senate race, we were accused of running either a mayor's race or a governor's race, because what we were talking about was crime, education, and jobs.
The things that people are mad about.
The things people are mad about, and the things that a governor has the best purview over.
Sure.
And so we decided, with my wife and I and my daughters, we went through a lot of discussion and a lot of prayer about this, and trying to figure out, is this the path that we think we should follow? And eventually we decided that there's too much at stake here. We live in a great state where there is a better way forward. We can address these issues. These aren't issues that can't be fixed.
Sure.
But if we don't change directions, they won't be. And so that's what we're going to do.
Absolutely. So before we talk, the issues and things here, your relationship with, coming back, I imagine they're very supportive of this and being really working with you on some of this, because in essence, they're kind of helping you out here by allowing you to go and do this stuff.
I think they were very supportive of the Senate thing in the respect that they just kind of said, they backed away and said, do what you think you need to do.
Yeah.
And I think that running for governor is a little different. I think it's hard for them because there was so much back and forth.
Sure.
And they took so much incoming for being, associated with me,
Sure.
really, in so many ways. So you have to stand up and you have to make a choice at that point, especially as someone who's on the air and all this stuff's coming at you.
Sure.
The question is the fight worth it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to ask. And you genuinely have to ask yourself that. You can say, I've been in the middle of this and that and everything else. But until you're taking those shots every single day, you really don't know. Mm-hmm. And so we were educated in that. We were educated in the fact that this was a tough go. And I think KRQE, I'm obviously never going to go back there given my history and everything else. But I think that I appreciate my time there.
Yeah,
I really did.
I would imagine.
And I just,
and the insight you get is probably where you're at today because of what you saw and experienced at KRQE.
And you learn in TV, you learn how to move people, right? You learn how to gather an audience and move them, because if you don't, you get fired. That's just how it rolls.
Sure.
And so that's a really good education going forward, because I get asked all the time, okay, how does a meteorologist transition into be a governor? But the things are the same effectively. You're taking complex data, you're taking complex policy, you're taking things that we have to be able to get our minds around, packaging them up and presenting them to people to say, look, there's a better way forward. Here's how we can do it differently. Here's the right way to do it. And that's why I think it's great training ground for what we're going into.
Well, it's all STEM science on that side.
Yeah,
so
right.
you
Absolutely
get that background and understanding.
Yep.
So even if you're making decisions that are science, STEM related thing, you have that experience and background to at least understand what they're presenting you and talking to you. And then I would also throw the other experiences. You're a meteorologist at a news station. You're in the room a lot. You probably talk to reporters. You talk to people that are working on these cases. They're working on these investigations. And you're seeing everything, not just the stuff that gets reported on air, but every angle, even the stuff that they suspect but can't prove, therefore they don't talk about. All of that stuff that we don't see on the nightly news, you're in the room privy to.
No doubt about it. And I think here's one thing to think about. When you talk about newsrooms, not only in this state, but across the country, those news staffs are half the size they used to be, and they're filling a news hole that's twice the size that it used to be. So what does that tell you? They're bringing in more and more information that's getting vetted less and less. And so many of us look at some of these stories that we see and we're frustrated by them because you look at it and go, how did that get on the air? And I'm not necessarily talking about specifically KRQE, but just in general.
Sure.
And as you look at all these things, you start to say, we have an information age now where we need to be able to go on the offensive. And we as conservatives and we as New Mexicans need to make sure that our stories are being told. Down here in Roswell, Carlsbad, go over to Hobbs. So many great stories can be told about what's happening down here that are not being told now. That needs to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. So let me ask here, now that, the Senate run now for governor, obviously some of the reasons, issues are the same reasons, but obviously the role of a senator versus the role of governor is a different. So I would imagine there's going to be a different angle of attack on certain issues and things. So let me ask, what as governor, what's some of your passion projects? What are the things you're like, you know what? My first time in office, these are the things I want to focus on.
Well, I think three things that we talk about all the time. Crime is number one. Now, part of that is because I live in Albuquerque.
Sure.
Okay, and so we've set records.
We've all seen that.
You've all seen it.
Nonsense
And
that.
you guys from down here come up and you're like, man, I hope I come home with my car. I mean, honestly, that's what we're talking.
And just folks in Roswell, crime's an issue here too.
Absolutely, it is. No question about it. And what we've done here in this state is we not only have not addressed crime, we've made it harder on our police officers, right? So we've created this mentality that you can challenge police officers. We've created this mentality that they don't need qualified immunity. We've created this mentality that, police officers are really not there to support the community and the community's not there to support the officers. That is horrendous.
Sure.
And it is absolutely tearing at the fabric of the state.
Sure.
So the first thing we have to do, and if you talk to police officers, they'll tell you this. They don't tell you, I want X dollars more to do my job. I want more benefits. They don't tell you that. They say, I want to be backed up by the leaders who we elect.
They arrest these people and they're out the next day.
They're out the next day.
So what deterrent do they have from not doing the crime?
And not only that, they're let out, and then they actually treat officers like it's go time every time they get arrested, right?
Yeah.
Because there's this mentality that, I if I get enough, if I record this, and I'll get people that'll support me no matter what I do.
There's no repercussions for their actions.
Yeah. So a few solid things we can do. First of all, you're right on the catch and release. If you commit violent crime in the state of New Mexico, you belong behind bars until you go to trial. Number one, we don't do it now. We need to. We have a sanctuary city and sanctuary state policies across the state that don't allow the feds and our local police officers to communicate. That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
That needs to stop. And we also need to make sure that we have laws in place that hold these people accountable. I mean, the fact of the matter is we've gone too far the other way, and it's made our lives more dangerous. And what bugs me the most is they just make it difficult now, Mike. I mean, you go in and you look at what this governor has done, and she wonders why she can't find police officers because she doesn't support them.
Exactly. Why would you want to go beat your head against the wall with that one?
Yeah. And then you go back and you look back to, last year and a half ago, they were so interested in going after the president that they wouldn't accept federal support to fight crime in Albuquerque. It's ridiculous. People like Senator Heinrich and the governor, they're saying, what are you talking about?
Sure.
If you actually live here and you care about your communities, cut the garbage and let's get these safe communities and let's get people to a point where they don't have to fear walking out their front door.
Sure.
And then education's another one that's huge, right? So we're spending more
always
money.
last.
Yes, right. Now we're 51st. They started adding DC in, by the way. So now
we're even outside the 50 now.
Right. But we can fix this problem too, because the PED takes all this money and they force down their policies onto local school boards like down here in Chaves County. We need to go and empower the local school boards, number one. They need to have the biggest say, not the PED. And then beyond that, not only do we have to get more money into the classroom, but we've got to start to be able to give kids who are really struggling an avenue to get help. So what do I mean by that? I mean, a good way to do it would be to establish education grants for low-income kids. So what we do there is we give them a sum of money that can be used for tutoring.
Okay.
It can be used for transportation. It can be used for learning pods, homeschooling, all different sorts of things. Yeah, you're going to start giving them the ability to be able to address their own education. Because, Mike, it doesn't work if we just say everybody has to do the same thing. We know that doesn't work. And the governor wants to keep doing the same thing because she's beholden to a teachers union that tells her, you have to do this.
And by the way, they get money based on numbers and everything. It's all about numbers. That's why school districts are like, oh, great, we got more students. That means more money. Doesn't matter if we got the resources. They're going to keep giving us money. And so kids mean dollars to these folks.
Absolutely.
And that's the problem. We got instead of our main goal is to educate, our main goal is to get more kids so we can get more dollars.
Your North Star should be the education of the kid.
Yeah.
Right. And instead, we fund buildings. Right. We fund buildings. Here comes the building.
Yeah.
Building gets more money.
Yeah.
And there are so many good stories in New Mexico and a pathway to go forward. One of them are charter schools. We have a great charter school in Albuquerque called MAS Charter School. They have 2,000 kids total, 2 different campuses here. And what they have is a setup where they not only provide uniforms for all the kids, they provide all their school supplies, they have higher reading rates, and they have higher graduation rates across the board. So what are they doing? They're applying for grants. They're doing things that are proactive to help the kid. The kid is the North Star, and there are so many good charter school stories. We can get that going down here in southeastern New Mexico too. It's happening to some degree here,
sure,
but it can definitely happen to a broader degree.
People are choiceless now. They're like, I either go through the gauntlet and see what happens, or I got to do it on my own.
You're right.
And that's what people are doing.
And the wealthy families, they can send their kids wherever they need to, but it's the kids.
Most of us can't.
Most of us can't.
Yeah.
Middle income, low income families can't do it. And to sit there and tell a family we're sticking your kid back into a school that's failing is absolutely horrendous, and it has to stop.
Sure. I want to talk a little partisan politics with you because you're the enigma a little bit on this one here. Because this has always been we look at our leaders right now, and this is something I've been saying forever, and I know a lot of people agree with me. How far they want to go with it, it's up to them. But our problem with our politicians is they don't answer to the people anymore. They've always answered to their party. And it's both sides. It's not just Republican, Democrat. Both sides do it. Right now, here in New Mexico, it's more Democrat heavy because it's been that way since the existence of New Mexico. But, I was talking with you. It's like we look at our legislature, and it's like I just want to get in the middle again. I mean, you have a unique perspective there because you're not a politician by trade. That you didn't come out of college saying I want to be a politician the rest of my life, which shouldn't be the case for anyone, but that's what happens.
Right.
So you're in essence now obviously Republican conservative, but in essence you don't have the beholden promises because you'd have to come up to the Republican Party and create bridges and create you basically are coming and saying, look, I'm just here to try to help people. I'm not beholden to anybody. Right. I'm just here doing my thing. I think that's our problem in politics is we get good people or people with the intent of doing it, and the parties just turn them into their machines, and so you haven't gone that route. So imagine, are you coming across that running for governor, running for senator?
Well,
is that a hurdle, or is it actually a helpful thing?
I think it's helpful, and I will tell you, I think you're right. You end up in some rooms where people who have been part of a political system for a long time look at me and go, "Oh, I don't know, I don't know." And we've had those times where but I enjoy those conversations because to me, what it allows us to do is to make each other better and throw things back and forth. And part of the reason for getting involved in this race is it's less partisan. It really is. If you're a good governor, you're not driving a political message for your party constantly. Gotcha. You're doing what's right for your state, right? Sure. You see it all the time. My problem with the current governor is she runs this state like she's a member of the House of Representatives in Washington. Yeah. So it is Nancy Pelosi. It is a pound.
The best interests of the Democratic Party,
bingo,
not
versus
the best interests
people
of New Mexico.
That's right. And you're a representative for everybody in this state. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have your conservative values, and it's my belief that we share the same values across this state. I run into very few people who don't share my values in this state, and I don't care what party you're in. Now, admittedly, I think some of that along the way, you have to be able to reach out to people and spend that time. And sometimes, Mike, those conversations are difficult.
And in all fairness, I think all of us are more alike than different. I mean, you might have your opinion on, I don't know, linchpin topic, abortion,
right,
or whatever. But at the end of the day, all of us want the best for our families, the best for ourselves. We all want the opportunity to succeed. We all want that. We all want the best things for our family. That's all universal. We just maybe not agree on how to get there. But if we all, instead of coming through what don't you like about me, what do we got to do to make it better for everybody? that's I feel we've lost all that. I feel we're all about big D, big R, screw America. And I feel that's the dangerous slope we're down in right now.
Well, so the question is, what do we do about that?
Yeah.
And how do you address that? And what do you do? Because there's an easy path. The easy path is whatever room you go into, tell them what you think they want to hear, and then move on.
Yeah.
But then you're just like everybody else, right? And then you're just like the person who they say, well, I talked to him here. He said this, and then he said this, a politician constantly, And so to me, it's important that occasionally you're going to disagree, and you're going to say, look, I don't see it that way. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the parties, and I think we see it in both parties, but I do worry that we're headed down a road where we don't talk anymore. There's no question about that. And we have to take our message to me as conservatives to everybody across the state and say, look, there is a better way. There is a sunrise coming. Okay, it's not, and believe me, I know we've been through some difficult times here.
Sure.
I'm not saying we haven't. That's the reason I'm running. It's the reason I don't have a career left in anything other than what we're doing right now.
Well, maybe you could do some meteorology in
maybe I'll do
Texas or
I may have to
Alaska or something.
Some consulting somewhere, right? But hopefully it never gets to that. But the point being in all this, be optimistic. Be optimistic that there is a sunrise. There's a way forward here that we can start to address these things and quickly.
Sure.
And that's where I think some of the times you end up with people that say, can we really fix this? Can this really happen? My answer is yes.
Yeah. And I think we just have to get that mindset. It's like, look, we all really want the same. We're all closer than we think.
Yeah.
We're in a world where everyone's trying to divide us and train you. Oh, you're different because of this. Celebrate that. And there's nothing wrong with celebrating your uniqueness. I'm not complaining about that. But why can't we celebrate what makes us common ground? What makes us one people?
Absolutely.
Why, you hear people with patriotism for America. You know why? It's because this country has done amazing things. Yeah, has it done some bad things? You're absolutely right. Our history is a mixed, muddy mess like everything else. But you know what? The things that have done here, the freedoms, there's a lot of people that have never spent time outside of this country.
Right.
And I invite you. I was in the military, so I got to see some of this. I spent time in Kuwait. I spent time in third world places where people that you're complaining about the show got canceled. These people are worrying about where their next meal's coming from.
That's right.
Is there I'm a woman. My leg is showing. Am I going to get beaten today? That's what we're talking about here. So that's because of America.
Yeah.
And you can enjoy that. Otherwise, you could be in a very situation that people in the Middle East are sitting in right now or somewhere else in Asia or Africa or someone else.
Yeah. No, you have the burden of knowing.
Yeah.
Like that's you because you've seen these. And you're right. We live in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
And I think we are now involved in a political process where it's like, well, there's one side where honestly, what you now see is you feel like too often people that are on the left side of the aisle just want to run down the country and they want to say, and that's what I mean by there's common ground here that you're talking about because there are so many New Mexicans who may have voted Democrat. I don't know, but they don't look at this country as an oppressive country, and they don't look at this country as a country that doesn't provide opportunity. It absolutely does.
Sure.
So there are so many people I think that we can reach out to and say, look, we live in a great country. We live in a great state where we've got some stuff we got to fix. But at the same time, this thought process that we should be ashamed of who we are or this country is ludicrous. I mean, I don't know a country in the world where there aren't mistakes simply because it turns out we're human and we screw it up a lot.
Absolutely.
And to me, we go back to God and ask for forgiveness for those things, and we keep going forward. And this country constantly, to me, gets better. It gets better and better.
And you look at our technology and innovation, and sometimes when you're blazing trails, let's face it, if you're trying to get to a goal, sometimes there's ancillary problems, and that's we've learned as a nation. Okay, we did this because we thought it fixed this, but guess what? It created this problem now.
Right.
And that's all over our history. And
law of unintended consequences.
Yeah, and that's what makes Americans great because we're going to do that regardless.
Yep.
But we're going to find a way to overcome, fix those things. We face those problems head on, and we keep moving forward. Yep. And in essence, that's what being American is about.
Yep.
And if we remember that, I think we'll all understand. I know I got a little soapbox.
Oh, no. I totally agree with you. I think it's totally true. And in this thought process, this political war, this thought of political war that we're in right now, those are tough environments.
Yeah.
And so you have to be ready to make sure that you get your message out to people to show, look, we can do things better than we're doing them.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Well, I know we're running a little short on time here, but you're hitting the ground running here, campaigning. If folks want to get involved, they can go to your website, contribute there. That's always that. And I'm telling you right now, the money game is the big game right now. Unfortunately, no one likes it. Yeah. But the Democrat Party's got a way huge head start advantage, and being an incumbent governor, there is a home field advantage there, and she's got a war chest that's 10 times bigger than anybody in the planet right now, or at least in New Mexico.
Right now, she does, and what we'll do is, and that's exactly, and Mike, it's part of this issue that's a bummer is that you do have to spend a lot of your time making sure that you can run a campaign. Yeah. And just so people know, a lot of people don't know, like, what do you use the money for? Like, so that would be you hire staff that reaches out to people, you print out stuff, you run television ads, you run digital ads,
every event you host,
everything you do, and so those things are expensive. And you're right, the current governor has the advantage of she just sits there piling up money. Well, she has these interest groups that flood her with money, and we have you basically, and so that's what. And I'll take that every day. We'll get to where we need to be with the money. I promise you that. Sure. But I will.
She's got an advantage of getting the word out that you don't. And that's unfortunate. That's where the money is. It's not necessarily the best message. It's who's got the biggest megaphone sometimes.
Initially it is. But I do think we're seeing a tip. This is why I'm saying be optimistic, because we're seeing people start to wake up to, like, you go to get gas, it's twice as much as it was this time last year. Yeah. You go to pay for groceries, they're $100 more than they were this time last year. That speaks for itself. That speaks for itself. You start saying, wait a minute, this is not working. My kids are not being educated. We have a criminal justice system that favors the criminals and not the law-abiding citizens. These things have to be fixed. We can fix them, but not the way we're going.
Well, let me ask a question and we'll probably wrap it up here. But let me ask a question that, the people that are currently in office, governor, president, I don't care, pick one. Yeah. They all promise you a better life going out than going in. Right. How's your life right now? Is it better? Yeah. Than what's going in? Yeah. Answer that question. Yeah. And if you could say yes, then keep going with status quo. Right. I'm pretty sure you can't say yes to that question.
Well, you're right. And that's the old Reagan question, right? Is your life better now than it was 4 years ago?
Exactly.
Or even 3 years ago. And the answer is clearly in many cases no. Yeah. But we have to present the vision of, okay, the answer is no. So where do we go? Yeah. And so that's where
we just can't give it. Hey, give me 4 years. I'm going to make it just bad.
What are you going to do? Well, just don't worry about it. It's
in 4 years, you're going to complain about me, and the next guy will do it.
Right. So these are concrete changes in making sure we're putting people's safety first. We're giving some educational choice, and we're bringing more jobs here and taking the burden off the shoulders of small business owners in this state and saying, you go for it. Absolutely. You do what you need to do, and you'll help create prosperity too.
Good deal. Give out the website. It's like Ronchetti for governor or something like
that. It's markronchetti.com.
Markronchetti.com. Go there and you can
donate. You can we're also going to start doing volunteer stuff, but that will be after the first of the year most likely. But we'd love your help. We have a petition drive right now, so you can go up on there, print off our petition, and get registered Republicans to sign it and send it back to us. That would be huge. We have to get on the ballot here, and we're going to aim for about 5,000 signatures. So that's a lot of signatures across the state. Okay. But if you can get registered Republicans, we want to have extra signatures because we don't want to have any issues with the Secretary of State. Yeah. No election issues, stuff like that. We want to go over the top with this and show, you could show your support. We'd really appreciate it.
Create no loopholes there for them.
Exactly right.
Excellent. Mark, is there anything you wanted to say or anything that we just sidetracked, didn't get a chance for you to talk about?
No, I enjoyed it, Mike. I always do. I just enjoy coming down here.
I appreciate you spending time.
We'll be down. We're down here all the time. Meeting with people and talking, and this is a great spot. We really enjoy it.
Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us here. Good luck in this campaign, and I would love to, call you Governor Ronchetti. That'd be a nice thing.
We think that's going to happen, and when it does, we will not be strangers down here.
And I will say, I got a funny feeling I might see you more often than I've seen Governor Grisham.
I think you will. I think we have a lot of supporters down here.
It was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah, the last time I saw.
But I think even when you look at what we do in this state, in this part of the state, with the oil and gas industry and these groups that are an absolute backbone of this state need to be treated like that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir.
Hey,
we'll see you next time.
All right.
Hey, I'm Jared.